America Business Forum proudly presents Adam Neumann, co-founder of WeWork and Flow. Before the world even called for connection, he built it. As founder of WeWork, Adam Neumann redefined how people work, gather, and create. And now, with Flow, he's transforming how we live, reshaping real estate into community and redefining what we call home. A builder of spaces and of belonging. America Business Forum presents Adam Neumann. For the following interview, Francis Suarez, mayor of the city of Miami, takes the stage of America Business Forum.
How are you, my friend? Good to see you. All right. What a great start to the day, huh? Let's go. Let's get some.
Yes, unbelievable start for the day.
Did you guys drink your Cuban coffee this morning? I know Miamians have, a Secret Service. We got to get everything going here. So, Adam, it's so great to have you here in Miami. You've been one of the most talked about entrepreneurs of our generation. Someone who's had extraordinary growth, reinvention, and also renewal. I'm really looking forward to diving into your journey and how you're thinking about leadership and innovation today. So you've been in Miami for a few years now. You've lived here before. You started Flow here. Why'd you want to come?
First of all, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to say thank you for having me.
Of course.
I wanted to congratulate you and Nacho. Only in Miami could an event like this happen so fast. Big hand for the mayor, for Nacho. And then before we start, you think they can stop that? You hear that sound?
No.
Maybe you could tell backstage, guys have really big ADD. If you could stop that spray, that would be amazing.
This is Miami, so you get sprayed here like Miami hurricanes,
You asked me why Miami. So when Corona happened to the whole world, like a lot of other families, Rebecca and I wanted to explore and see what the world has to offer. And we actually not only searched in the US, we even looked outside of the US. Very quickly we realized that the US is our home, it's where our kids were born, so we had to come back here. But we tried everywhere. We moved from New York to the Hamptons, from the Hamptons to California. In California, we tried multiple places, and then we got to Miami. And we arrived to Miami, and for us as New Yorkers, Miami wasn't an obvious thing. When we arrived to Miami, we were shocked by what we found. And I find a lot of times when I tell people I live in Miami, everybody has something to say. And say, Adam, what does Miami stand for? And I say, Miami's superpower is community. I have never seen a city with so many different communities, but here's what's special, that welcome each other and understand each other. And we immediately felt like home. We were welcomed so nicely, and this became home 4 years ago.
We're both parents, but I only have 2 children. You have 6 children. Prolific. Was there a draw specifically about Miami in terms of raising children?
100%. So for all of us that are parents in the room, I think we learned very quickly that our life revolves around our kids. but in a great way. In a way that, of course, we want to be in a place that makes our kids the happiest. And just think of the way a lot of people live in cities all over the world. They live in these boxes, in the cities of concrete. There's no outdoors. If you happen to be in a city that has very cold weather, half of the year you're not able to be outside. Imagine us coming to Miami and suddenly the kids spend all day outside and they're playing and they're hanging and there's friends and it's just a different lifestyle and it's a heaven for kids. And when it's a heaven for kids, it's a heaven for the parents. So this is an unbelievable place to raise kids. And again, it's back to community. It's really welcoming.
So I'm going to ask you sort of a mayoral question. This is a kind of a question that I get as mayor. If you could change one thing about Miami, if you could sort of wave a magic wand, right, what would you change?
Waves. I would add waves. But that's a story for another time.
Listen, I know you brought a big part of your company here. Your offsite is here, and they're here today with us.
Big hand for Flo.
All right.
By the way, that's only 250 people, but they sound like 2,000.
And I'll tell you, I did a really nice Zoom with them before, and we got them all pumped up. So thank you guys for coming here, and thank you guys for bringing the energy. Let's take a step back. You started Flow when you were living in Miami. Tell me a little bit more about Flow and how the idea came about and came to you.
So I'll start with the offsite that you mentioned. People ask me, Adam, why would you fly people from all over the country, some people from all over the world, to come to one place? I really believe in work. That's a face-to-face thing. And I really believe that real experiences actually happen when people are in the same place. So making the investment of bringing everybody was obvious. Making the investment to Miami, when that's our HQ, was even more obvious. So bringing all of that together tremendously makes sense. Flow, for those of you who maybe know a little bit about me, I've always been about bringing people together and about community. And the other word that comes to mind lately that I think is very relevant is unity, right? You can walk into a room and you can say a sentence and you bring people apart. Or you can walk into a room and you can tie people together. Same sentence, same sentiment, but said differently. And in general, and I've been saying this a lot to people lately, if you want to split us apart, I'm not interested in hearing. If you want to have a different opinion than me, no problem. Let's talk about it. But bring us together. Do it in a way that ties people together, not the people that tear people apart. So all my life, when it has to do with how Rebecca and I raise our family or how we build businesses, it was always about bringing people together. We get to Miami, the obvious thing was, well, why don't we do a business that brings people together but has something to do with the inspiration for Miami? So for those of you, you've seen some of our Flow buildings, we call the design tropical chic, but it's really Miami. So it's Miami meets a little bit of Santorini. And we started with these buildings, multifamily buildings, but we've grown to a lot more. And we wanted to take these buildings and really deliver community into the buildings. But before I say anything, because sometimes words, it's harder to express, I would love to show something for a second, and then we can talk about it, and I'll explain what's so unique about Flow.
Okay. You gotta have a couple technical difficulties, technical glitches.
First of all, that was only half of it. The first half was even better.
Okay.
But that's good.
That means that they'll go online and check it out.
Exactly. You know, that video ends with, what if it all goes right?
I love that saying.
So first of all, like most amazing things that ever happened in my life came from my wife, Rebecca. So I think big hand for that. Who's sitting right here in the audience. And and my daughters, Elle and Luli, that are in the audience, that I really wanted to say thank you for being amazing daughters. I think this sentence, what if it all goes right, is something that represents me a lot. I'm very optimistic. I believe that the darkest moment in the night is a second before dawn. And I believe that no matter how bad you think things are right now, if you just view them in a positive way and are able to know that there's a bigger picture, we might not know it. Sometimes things in life are very difficult.
100%.
And in the moment where we're in it, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it's happening.
It's foggy.
But if you have, there's one thing that we all share, and that's belief. Okay, what kind of belief you have. But if you have belief, then you're greater than yourself, and you're part of something greater than yourself. And when you have that, and you think, what if it all goes right, which we're going to put on some huge buildings, not just here in the US, but also around the world, it's that day when everything goes right. You woke up in the morning, you got the phone call, your kids told you exactly what you wanted, your best friend, that great thing just happened to them, the deal just closed, the health scare that you had just disappeared, and everything went right. And that's what Flow is all about. It's about creating these conscious communities that bring people together. We, in our offsite this past week, we had ambassadors that are residents that live in the building, and each one of them chooses to be an ambassador for a different reason. One of them is a wellness ambassador, another one is a food ambassador, and they each told their story of how they're throwing these events in the buildings. They do it, we don't pay them. They throw these events and invite other community members to come in. And it won't surprise you that in a world where people are so connected digitally, they've never been more disconnected. And physical experiences, I think, in today's world, experiential real estate has never been more important. And that's what we created here in Flow. But I want to say, before you even say anything else, one of the reasons Flow exists is because of you and because of Miami, because he deserves it. And here is why. You came to me when we just arrived here before we started a business. You asked me, Adam, what business are you going to build here? And I told you, I don't know, we just finished a business. You're like, no, Adam, that's not the Miami way. Let's go. And you told me that it doesn't matter if it's any city in Miami, that Miami and Florida welcomes businesses, small businesses and big businesses alike. And you've been amazing, and your team has been amazing to work with. The mayor of Aventura, the mayor of El Portal. I've done business in 130 cities, 70 countries around the world. I have never been welcomed and had a better city to work with. So thank you.
Thank you, brother. Well, we're coming sort of to a close, but I love the motto of what if everything goes right. Well, sometimes things don't go right. We just saw a little technical glitch, right? Things don't always go right. And I love how you have managed that as well. Tell us what's going right here in Miami, specifically with Flow. What are you working on for the audience? And you have some incredibly transformational projects both inside the city and outside.
So thank you for that. I will say one more thing. Even when things don't go right, if people take one thing from today, this is what I take. You're having that day and it's not going right. If you have it in you to look up and say, I don't know why, but I know there's a reason, and one day I will look back and understand it all, that takes the bad day into a really good day. What are we doing here in Miami? Let's go. We bought 10.2 acres in Aventura, 250,000 square foot of office. We're building 735 apartments under the Flow brand. We took a trailer park that was closed and was at receivership. We bought it, ensuring that all the people, all the debt holders, not only got paid more even than the debt that they were holding. And we're going to build a new community there with over 2,000 apartments and over a million square feet of office and 200,000 square feet of retail. But more importantly, with the Flow ethos as part of it. So it's one thing to take a building and do your own furniture and do your sound and do community and bringing people together. But when you design neighborhoods, you're one step away from designing cities. And then from that, we went to Brickell, where you visited me, and we bought about 6.8 acres. We built, there was an existing building with 632 apartments. When you came, it was just starting. We since then have opened it. We've started leasing. We launched a farmer's market with partnership with the city every Sunday. That's happening there in the afternoons. And that's just a little bit. And separate from that, we have a building in Fort Lauderdale and 2 buildings right here in Flow, Miami. We can see the stadium.
Unbelievable. So we see it's obviously working well here. Do you think it's going to work as well in other places as well?
I think flow can work in any metropolitan place around the planet. But if again, in hindsight, it's 2020, I can't imagine it starting the way it started anywhere else except for Miami. There's so many things about it that are Miami. And I got to tell you, when we started WeWork a long time ago, we used to say the Brooklynization of the world. Every place we wanted Brooklyn, wanted New York City. Now when I go around the world, everybody wants Miami. So, thank you. And I hope we can help to be part of that. We can help be part of the skyline. We can help be part of the culture. Every time you and I speak, everything I say first is, what does the city need?
Yeah,
in our new Brickell, we are going to have a fire station. We're going to have a police station. A lot of things that you've promised people that I know are very important for you. Every single time you meet the mayor, it's first, here's what the city needs. And after we talk about that, then we can start talking about how to do things together. So it would work in other places, but I can't imagine anywhere else.
So this trajectory and adventure of flow, would you say it's working better than you thought it would be?
It is working better than I thought it would be. And I think it's for a variety of reasons. I think my family is working better than I thought it would be. I think my wife is taking better care of me than I ever thought I deserved. I think my kids, it's all just coming together in this amazing way. And we have this unbelievable group of employees. I am so proud of the team that we've put together. They are so full of life. You guys deserve it. They are amazing. In a world where not everybody is working, I think, as hard, and there's still remote work, this team is working much more than 12 hours a day. They work 7 days a week. They work all around the planet. They do it with a smile, but they're also very serious. So on the one hand, they want to have fun and they want to build something really meaningful, but they also take themselves very seriously. And it's been an amazing experience. And without repeating too many times, the environment here has been so supportive that things are just flowing.
Nice, very good. One of the things I've noticed about you and seen is you're a coach. You connect with your employees, and whether it's virtual or in person. Obviously, you were talking about in person, but I was also in an environment with you where you were in person and virtual at the same time. You obviously bring them here. How do you create that connection? Why is that connection important to you in terms of your leadership philosophy and how you motivate people and run a big organization like Flow and the ones you've done?
So I believe, excellent question, by the way. That was
off script.
Off script, completely off script. It's very good, very, very good. When you talk to someone in life, if it's a friend, if it's an employee, if it's a spouse, if in any way you talk to them in a judgmental way, what does it mean when we judge someone? It means we think we're better. To judge someone else, we have to look down at them. Whenever you're judging someone else, I'll tell you two things that are for sure. One, you do not know what a person is going through until you're in their shoes. I don't care what you think you know. And if you were in their shoes, I don't know that you would do any better. So when you judge a person, you're already making a huge mistake. But also, whenever you look down at someone, they'll never hear you. Whatever advice you want to give them, they're not going to hear you. If you look up at someone, oh, they're so great, they're so big, I feel so small, and you try to tell them something, they're never going to hear you either. The only way that people can listen is when you talk to them eye to eye. And for me, talking to a person eye to eye is being honest, is speaking from the heart, and is also being open about the fact, yes, I might be giving you some advice, but you might be giving me advice right back at it. And if I'm going to be open, if I want to tell you something, I better be open, one, to receive back from you, but two, I need to admit, we all have faults. We all make mistakes. I know I've made so many. And we all have room to grow. And with that kind of attitude, I think you can build true friendships, true relationships, obviously true marriages, and I think that's how you build a great company.
Let's talk a little bit about your expansion into the Middle East. You're Israeli, but you've done a significant amount. Yes.
Yeah.
I've often said we have the best Jewish community here, and we take very good care of them.
It's about to grow.
Oh, I know it is. It's absolutely going to grow after yesterday. Talk to us about your investments in the Middle East, particularly in Saudi. We have PIF as our main presenter. We have Princess Rima, the Saudi ambassador to the United States, coming on shortly. Talk to us a little bit about why Saudi and why you invested in Saudi.
So my favorite topic in life after family and community is the Middle East. But before I say anything, I'm going to throw a question right up to you, off script. I believe you're the first mayor that reached out to Riyadh, made Miami and Riyadh sister cities. And if I have my numbers right, I think you did it like 6 years ago, before anybody was going. So why did you do that? And then I'll tell you why I did that.
Well, off script, now I'm getting interviewed. So I believe, as you have, in terms of the power of connection. And I think our world should be connected. And I think that, unfortunately, there are many people in the world that want to divide us. And I think that the further connected we are, the better connected we are, the better that we understand each other, and the better we can push back on that division. And so for me, part of it has been my professional travel, part of it has been my travel as mayor, as you said. And I've had an opportunity to go to the Middle East, places like Saudi, places like Qatar, places like Israel, of course, UAE, etc., Bahrain, Kuwait. And I think that it's incumbent upon us as human beings to try to create that connection, to figure out what it is about these places that we have in common. And I've often said, as I've traveled the world, also to Asia, Singapore, Korea, Japan, etc., what I said is there's things that are fundamental about us, no matter what our culture is, no matter what language we speak. We all want our tomorrows to be better than our yesterdays. We all want to live in peace and prosperity. And we all want our children to succeed. And I found that to be a fundamental truth, no matter what culture you're from. And I think the Saudi people embody that. They're young, they're aggressive, they're energetic, and they're well-led.
So first of all, I completely agree. Exactly. For all the same reasons. We went to the Middle East. So we were sitting in a board meeting. We did Miami. We're about to do our expansion. And I shared with the board, said, I know my next city. And the board was like, oh, we can guess. New York. I was like, no. They're like, okay, Austin, Texas. No. London. It's like, you guys are really far. I said, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And they're like, wow, tell us why. And I said, let's start with the metrics. Let's just do numbers. 70% of 35-year-olds and younger, Princess Rima, I'm sorry if I'm stealing any of your sentences. I really love Saudi. 70% of Saudis are younger than 35. It's an extremely young country. It's led by a visionary, MBS, who has a clear vision for 2030 and what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. And it's extremely open to businesses from all around the world to come. So the numbers were really good. But then we went and visited, and the culture was thriving and open and excited. And we knew that there's a world in which the product market fit between flow to a country is even greater in the Middle East, and we're starting in Saudi, soon to go to other places in MENA, even greater in the Middle East than it's even here right in Miami. And as we started going to Saudi, and we opened our first building, and we got so much demand, not just from the expats, so there are a lot of expats, which means people who are not from Saudi, that live in Saudi, work in Saudi, are helping to build the future, but also the locals. And they connected to the Flow brand, to community, to family, because all those words are words that really relate. And just like, by the way, here in Miami, we were welcomed really, really well in Saudi, and we just went for it. We bought 5 buildings, 1,000 apartments, we built our own brand, we run it on our own technology, and we've been operating there over 2.5 years. We actually added another building this past week, and we're just getting started. And the only other thing I'd add, because you talked about borders, something I love about business. Business can break all borders. Business can break all boundaries. If we come with unity, and if we treat other people the way we want to be treated, we can do business anywhere. And that's why we're in Saudi.
Another off-script question. Ready?
I'm ready.
You've been called a visionary. You've been called inspiring. But you also work with people that are visionary inspiring. Mark Andreessen, Andreessen Horowitz. What has it been like to work with them and to have them help you power your growth?
I'm going to share a personal story. So first of all, I am so lucky to not just to have Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz both helping me. They both attend. We have a board meeting next week. By the way, they've been coming a lot more to Miami because of this. They're going to be here next week.
Fantastic.
And they both attend the board meetings. And if you're lucky enough to have people who are not just the biggest and best investors in the world, but also build their own businesses, and to sit next to you, then I couldn't be more grateful. But here's an example of sort of my relationship with my wife. We do our first board meeting, and I come home, and Rebecca asks me, so, what did Mark and Ben tell you need to do better? And I said, well, we said this, we said that, and I go into all these details of stuff they said in the meeting. She goes, no, in the part where you ask them directly, please tell me all the things I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I can do better. What did they say to that part? And I said, well, I didn't exactly ask it like that. And she goes, well, then what are you doing? Is this an on-board meeting? Like, what are you guys talking about then? And she goes, haven't you learned anything? So I said, okay, thank you. The next board meeting, I told him that story, and I said, Rebecca said I should ask, and we're doing a dinner, it's just the three of us, and obviously they had a lot to say. And he taught me something amazing about, I don't care how close you are to your partners, if it's your spouse, if it's your business partners, or if it's any kind of partnership, give an opening. Actually ask them directly, please, I'm open. Tell me what I can do differently. Tell me where I fell. Tell me what I can do to grow. And if you do it with an open heart, everyone has something to say. And then it's up to you to really take it in and learn from it. It has been the best business building experience of my life. I'm so happy that based on my last experience, I didn't give up and say, I don't want any more partners. And I don't think Flow would be what it is today without it. And every board meeting, when we get together, I can't even tell you what we're going to come out of, but I can promise you that the business is going to be 5 times better an hour after our board meeting than it was an hour before.
I feel like your wife and my wife would get along very well.
We should do a little barbecue.
We should.
You're very busy. When you're done with this part, after.
So let's talk a little bit about Adam Neumann, the father. You have 6 kids. I mean, that is unbelievable. You've obviously just shared with us what you learned from your wife, who is someone who is challenging you as opposed to saying, hey, everything is great, making sure that you can grow constantly. How do you grow as a father with, so much responsibility, so much riding on your shoulders, so much pressure? What are you learning from them, and what are you learning from that experience that makes you better at managing chaos, which is what business is about at your level?
So first of all, if you want to see chaos, you can come to our house, and it's not always at the same time, but there are moments where Rebecca and I look at each other, and we're just like, we don't even know who is screaming. There are also 2 dogs. So 6 kids, 2 dogs. At any given moment, it's a community center, so 5 to 30 friends. Center. So there's a lot of action. But a few thoughts. My first one is, and again, I know a lot of people in the audience know this, but you should really have the courage to embrace it. You want to know the truth? Listen to your kids. They won't bullshit you. They're not that impressed with you, so they're going to say the truth. And they're going to say the tough things. Maybe sometimes not when you want to hear them. Maybe not in front of the right people. So my first thing about kids is they're great teachers, and I learn from them a lot. That's number 1. Number 2, I don't always get it right. 2 days ago, my sons are not here. I was so upset that, again, they did something that we agreed they wouldn't. I lost it. And for 24 hours later, I was like, I can't believe I'm still at that stage where I can lose it, but it happens to all of us. And for me, when that happens, the next day, I will go and sit and I'll say, their names Elijah and Isaiah, I'll say, Elijah and Isaiah, the way Abba, Daddy, acted yesterday was not correct. I lost my calm. I didn't speak to you the right way. I didn't do things right. But there's also things that you do that are not correct for me. Let's have a discussion about it. And it's that same kind of coaching. But on top of that, because we really take things seriously, for a lot of us, you send your kids to school, so you're their parent for whatever amount of hours a day. But then you send them to school, and the school is their parent for those hours a day. And some of us, the kids are more time in school than they are actually at home. So Rebecca, because she really wanted us to parent in a very specific way, actually launched a new school, Soulful, which stands for Student of Life for Life. And we launched it officially. Big hand, we have a few Soulful students right here.
All right.
And this is an earth-to-table school. The kids are farming. The kids are doing music. The kids are doing all the chores in the school. They're cleaning, they're serving, they're building, and they're not in front of screens. We took the screens away, we took the phones away. And we didn't get a chance to talk today about that topic, but we took the screens away, we took the phones away. And again, this is something for the parents. If you're finding your kids difficult today, take their phone away. You're not their parent. Apple is their parent.
True.
Microsoft is their parent. Facebook is their parent. TikTok is their parent.
Or worse, whatever's coming through those portals is their parent.
Here's the challenge. Those devices are so smart. They're built by the smartest people on the planet. I know some of them work for us. They are so smart. They are so good at what they do. We all know that Steve Jobs didn't give his daughters the iPad and the iPhone. No way. And because of that, these machines are built in an addictive way. And for us as adults, maybe we're capable of putting that addiction away. But for kids, their minds are just getting formed right now. And if you want to be the one forming their mind, then take control. If you want to share the forming of their mind with other people who you might not agree with, who might not even be from your country, who might not have the same values that you have, then you have to take that away. And I think that's another thing that we do differently maybe than people.
Listen, I think that's great coaching advice. That's great father advice. Adam, I want to thank you for being so open and so thoughtful with us. It's great to have you here in Miami, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
The pleasure is all mine. You're an unbelievable mayor. Big hand for everybody who did this.
Love it.